welcome to the TNT Podcast, episode 19.5. My name is Sean.
I'm Perrin.
I'm Corbin.
Hey! I should probably explain why it's 19.5, right? Micah is not here because he's on vacation and he isn't available. So I've had to call in some emergency support with Corbin and Perrin. Hello.
We're the backup.
How are you?
We're designated backups, I guess.
Yeah, I'm the third string podcast.
It's like the bat signal.
Yeah.
I don't know what your signal would look like.
When in doubt.
But
Usually parents like, hey, perchance, are you available? And I'm like, no.
That's word for. I always use the word. Perchance. I can't help myself. It's too good of a word to not use.
it is true. I don't really use perchance all too much. It's one of those like very fancy words. It sounds like something from the Victorian era.
I've heard it exclusively as a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Only from Perrin, I imagine.
Only the best vocabulary words are leftover remnants from the Victorian era and only used as jokes.
That is true.
That is true. I don't know if I use any words from the Victorian era. I learned about the Victorians obviously in school, and I was like, I immediately forgot all of it as soon as it was over. So that's fun. But also, this is going to shock everyone. I'm armed and dangerous right now.
You have
and
a
that is
gun?
with stats.
Oh.
No, please do not arrest me. I'm not allowed one here. You're just trying to get me in trouble now.
That was a gun?
Yeah, something more frightening, which is numbers.
Which is numbers.
I have
Remember,
numbers.
kids, knowledge is power.
Oh yeah, and I'm about to drop some knowledge right now, I tell you. So, our last episode, The Rise of X, had 20 plays in total. So I think we're famous now.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Joe Rogan,
I think it's
get out of the way.
one
No one.
whole listen for every person who's still on X.
Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I'll see if I can quickly bring up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the UI because Micah gave me this data without any guidance, so I'm now just fumbling around trying to see if I can find more information. There is something here. I don't know how I find it now. Audience, that's it. So you can get platforms. So we have Spotify is 61% of our listeners. Apple Podcasts is 21%, and then the rest are just generic random stuff like web browsers and Spotify for podcasters, which is just the link. So some people don't even open up an app, they just listen to it on the link itself.
How lazy.
Indeed. We don't have any 60 plus listeners now, which is a shame. We did have one for a while.
Man,
I don't know what happened. I hope nothing bad happened to them.
hopefully. I'm sure that's some host's parent, I'm sure. If I had to guess. Maybe grandparent.
Yeah. I know you said your mum used to listen
My
to some of
mom,
the episodes that
my
you're
mom
on.
still listens occasionally, but she really only does it when it's me or Corbin on the podcast. As
So she might be listening to this one then.
maybe. We'll see.
Well, hello. I thought I'd say hi. I might as well. But yeah, I think we should probably move on to what we've been doing. I'm gonna... who should I start with? Well, that's just... I'm gonna go with Perrin.
It's me. So,
It's you.
I have been mostly working. Woo.
Yay.
So I haven't had that much time to do a whole lot. But I have been getting back to a project that I took a break from because the file got corrupted and everything in it got deleted randomly, which is lovely. So, my little fictional football league design project, the NAFA, I shared like compilations of teams on Scratch and Behance, and the first little division that I shared, the Atlantic Division, is old at this point. So it's been over a year and a half since I first posted it, so I'm going back and sharing all the updates that I've made in the last 18 months or so, which is fun because there's a lot that's changed for some teams, and some have only barely changed a little bit. Like the red is slightly darker, and the face mask changed from red to white on their uniforms. And
Wow.
that's it. Riveting stuff.
Revolutionary stuff
I know.
here.
But still, it's fun to work on. It's a big project. I'm going pretty crazy with the presentation, so that's fun. I have 2 of the 6 presentations done for 2 of the 6 teams so far, and we're getting there, and it's a lot of fun. I'm also finally trying to get Brand Battle 5 off the ground again because it completely stalled out.
We just actually closed the first round.
Yeah,
finally.
The first round opened March 31st. With an initial deadline of I think it was like May 1st or something. I don't remember if it was a month or 6 weeks, but we did not get enough entries at all, and so it just kind of sat and we kept pushing the deadline back and just sat in limbo for a whopping.
Then we just
3
ended
months.
the deadline.
I tried lifting the deadline and just saying, all right, everyone, just finish it whenever you're done, and then nobody finished it. But last week, I think it was about a week ago, I said, all right, we're just going to stop at 16 entries and move on from there. And now we have 16 entries, and so the round is over. And I'll hopefully share round 2 soonish. Who knows?
Yeah.
Did anyone
have to
rush? Did anyone have to
What
rush
was
to
that?
be one
Well,
of the 16?
I got people motivated by saying, once we get 16 entries, everyone automatically advances, but there's only 4 slots left. So you gotta hurry if you want to get in. And so that was good enough motivation.
Jedi mind tricks.
Exactly.
Just kind of kick the can down the road.
Exactly.
Don't actually even eliminate anyone.
Don't actually eliminate anyone. So
Incredible.
So instead of waiting for 21 more entries, we only waited for like 3. It was great. So
Genius.
That's what's been going on.
This is why I wanted you as host for Brand Battle. Because this is the thing, for people who don't know, I've been a judge in every single brand battle, and this has been the most slow brand battle. not because of your fault, it's just because it's like just not as popular, I don't think, at the moment.
It's just been a bad year for design contests on Scratch.
Yeah.
Because it seems like we're at the point where a lot of the upper echelon of designers on Scratch are either too busy or just aren't on Scratch anymore, and so they haven't entered. So like Brand Battle 5 has been struggling, Design Duel 10's been doing not much at all. They've also had very few entries.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But hopefully this is enough to get it off the ground. Keep the remaining 16 people interested enough to eventually
Fingers
finish
crossed.
it out. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so I looked up the account. So we launched sign-ups on February 10th. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of when the actual contest properly started. Mm-hmm. And round 1 was March 31st. So
and we had some good sign-ups too. Like we had like
sign-ups was really good, and then I don't know what happened from there.
77 people entered, and then the 32 people who came in after that just decided, maybe later. I'm good, actually.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully we can get that up and running again. I guess I'll continue on from that. I mentioned this last week, and that's my news app UI. It's finally out. Wow. I finally released something.
Oh,
it's like, I know, right? Honestly, it was so painstaking, this one, because this is another thing. I've recently started to actually use Instagram like publicly, like for public stuff. And I've had to make so many different versions of this design to work on different platforms. Because I had to make one for Behance, then I had to make one for Dribble, then I had to make one for Instagram, then I had to completely redo it for Scratch, because Scratch I wanted to import as an SVG, and to do that I had to remove images, everything. Yeah, I don't know why I decided to do that. I should have just uploaded it as a PNG and just been done with it, but because I'm insane, I just went for that anyway. So I found it's out. It is an SVG, but it took me like a solid day to get it all done, to like collate it all together, make sure everything was fine. But it's finally out, and I'm quite happy with it. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been like. Obviously, work, boring stuff, but that's the only thing of like actual note I've done recently. But yeah, not as interesting I think as your one. especially with
it's
your
still
corrupted
fun.
file and stuff. But it is still fun. Yeah, and there's some
You
other
guys-
secret stuff
I
in the works.
Really gotta start doing UI, because UI, I have a feeling that once I actually try it, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
But it's the kind of thing where it's also hard, because you gotta pay
It's-
attention to. It's all little details. It's very
Yeah.
simple, like chunks, but so many tiny little details you gotta pay attention
Mhm.
to.
it's that thing. Like for me, I started off doing landscape designs.
Mm.
That was my first. That was how I first kind of got into design. Was doing landscapes, which I still do, but I never release any of them because I don't like them enough to share them. But that's how I got. Then I moved on to UI just to try it out, and it's one of those things. Like once you kind of get the fundamentals down of
Yeah.
how to like organize things, how to make things logical, then it's kind of it just comes to second nature, really. Like I say, it's mainly down to just trying to find a unique style and make sure everything kind of makes sense. Like if there was a real app, would this actually make sense if someone had to use it? Would it be intuitive? But that's kind of really it. But yeah, I totally recommend trying out UI. Just even if you don't like it, it's just nice
Yeah.
to give it a go.
See
how it goes.
I'm taking a UI class this upcoming semester at my school, so that should force me to do it. The best way to get me to learn something is to
just force it.
throw me into the deep end and make me figure it out, and then I'll do it.
What if I
and
just
I'll not
ask you
like
to do it right now?
You see, if you just ask me, then I'm not gonna do it.
Before the end of
Because-
the podcast,
because
Perrin
I'm going
has to design like a whole OS.
Ugh. If you just
Yeah, you
ask
have to make a new. You have to make the new Mac OS UI.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like,
For the next-
all of it?
after
the whole thing.
You
Yeah,
get to
so, like, right,
redesign
there- so
every
no-
app though. Like
Oh.
every
Yeah.
app icon, you now have full control.
Every app icon, every app.
You know, Wikipedia.
You know, the whole
I have
thing.
to design a unique page for every article. I
And
have
language
24
as
hours,
well.
and I'm going to be paid in exposure.
It'll work. You'll get it.
It'll
done.
work.
Yeah, there's so much exposure. I mean, everyone
Man,
uses Wikipedia,
everyone uses
right?
it. Man. Ugh.
What you do is you have a big like thing, like you know how like if you don't activate Windows, you have a big watermark that says activate Windows. That's what you do on like every single page of Wikipedia, made by Parent Girl.
Or even
There you
better,
go.
Pop-up ad,
you
and then you click the X, and it's a second pop-up ad.
Every single blue hyperlink just takes you to the Perrin Grub Wikipedia page.
Ah,
Yeah, or you know how like on Wikipedia they have those pop-ups that when you first like open the website that asks to donate, but
Yeah.
instead it's just to donate to Perrin.
subscribe to my Patreon that I definitely have.
Subscribe to my Patreon, buy me
Here's
a
my
coffee.
Venmo.
Here's my
Give me all of your
portfolio. Here you
money.
go.
Here's a handy
I think that's a great
Here's a
opportunity.
handy little space you can type in your credit card information.
Please give me your credit card information. Yeah, I say it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't endorse
We don't
any
endorse
illegal
credit
stuff,
card
of
fraud
course.
here.
Of course, of course. We don't encourage that.
But we do
But we don't
encourage parents' complete remodeling of one of the most important websites ever made by humans.
Because I'm sure the people
course.
who are in charge of Wikipedia will love this idea.
Oh,
I'm sure. I'm sure they're actually like doing it right now
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of the Wikipedia editors is listening to this podcast, and it's going to be like, you know
I
what? It's a great
actually
idea. I'm
am
going
in
to do
charge
it.
of Wikipedia. That's me. I invented
He
Wikipedia.
is. He's actually Mr. Wikipedia.
Hi.
First name Wiki, last name Pedia.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah. Well, that was a bit of
changes by
a
the board. We'll see what we can do.
the High Council. Yeah. Well, that was a bit of a departure there. That was fun. Corbin, what have you been up to?
So mostly I've been working, obviously. But what I've been doing over the summer is I'm instructing at this like little virtual educational camp thing. And I do different like kind of class camp things every week. But primarily I've just been doing one where I get to teach Kerbal Space Program to like kids from like 10 to 14 and just get to talk about rocket science and get paid for it like all day. It's great.
That's great.
So I get to like host like design challenges where I'm like, okay, here's the thing we're gonna try to build in Kerbal. Let's try to get like build the thing that can go at the fastest speed before you leave the runway. And so we have like these, kids in Kerbal strap like 20 rocket boosters to like 2 wheels and call it a car. I think we got up. We almost hit Mach 2 before we left the runway, so that was pretty good. So I get to do a lot of fun things like that.
I'm sure in a game like Kerbal, it's not that hard to try and break the land speed record, right?
Oh yeah, no, you can do it in a few minutes in Kerbal. So
there should
fun.
be like a speed run for that on Kerbal.
There's a lot of very interesting challenges in the Kerbal community, which I'm not as active in as I should be. But anyway, I've been playing a little bit of Kerbal on my own, just for funsies. But outside of working, I've been working on a handful of like personal projects, as I always do. The 2 main ones now are a hovercraft. I'm trying to build this tiny, not a big one, maybe like 1.5 foot long remote control.
I just love how casual that was. Just I'm building a hovercraft.
I mean,
I'm just building a hovercraft. Just an average day.
Well, I mean, the other one's probably even harder. But I'm also trying to very painstakingly learn this like analysis software so I can like simulate the blades of the little fan thing that drives the air underneath the hovercraft. And so I'm using this hovercraft as an excuse to learn like an industry standard software that I have ranted about on this podcast before. I don't want to do it anymore.
I still remember that. I get Vietnam flashbacks to that. Some of those were like way too complicated.
This tool is even worse. This
fantastic.
Side of it. So that's going slowly, but eventually, I have most of the hovercraft design done. But it's going to be a matter of like, okay, how can I tweak this fan so it's ever so slightly better, and then also show on my portfolio that I can use this tool. Then the other project is a project that I started a long time ago. I made this little, it's basically just like a tiny little car, no electronics on it. You just have a little like vertical wind turbine, and you just directly connect it like mechanically to the wheels. And so you put it on the ground, the wind blows, the little thing spins, and it drives forward at a blistering speed of a handful of millimeters a second. But it can just kind of go. Like, you leave it out for a while, and you come back, and it's moved,
it's like,
a few meters.
Incredible.
You're like, oh, okay,
3
that's
feet.
Cool. Right. Sometimes an hour, it might lose against the
It's
snail.
terrible.
It's a little bigger than a snail, though. But anyway, so I made that a few years ago, and I'm now trying to make it a little bit better. I'm doubling the size, or doubling the output of the wind turbine, I think. I think that's what the math says. Still don't know how to simulate it yet because I don't know the software. I'm just kind of guessing. But I'm like completely redesigning all the mechanics of the wheel, so now it's 4-wheel drive. I made this really weird assembly that's effectively how a tank turns, but it's just a pile of gears on top of like a big old pile of gears, and magic happens.
I just built a tank while I was at it too.
I mean, it's
just
almost,
another day in the office for me.
I
I also built a missile launcher. It's just another day.
Being a rocket scientist and making missile launchers is very similar.
I may or may not have thought about making kind of like a air, not like an actual rocket engine. It would be like a ducted fan or something, but basically making a javelin missile, something similar. This is what I do.
It's just how casual this is. I'm just building weapons of mass destruction.
There wouldn't be a warhead. It may just be like a piece of foam.
It's just a rocket. There's no explosives attached to it.
Right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm worried that you might just have be your next project. So I'm going to see how big of a bomb I can make.
I have put extensive thought into how I would build a liquid-fueled rocket engine, including down to what fuel I would use that I could get through legal means.
Because you have to research what's legal and what's not.
You gotta be really
I think if you're at the point where you're Googling what's legal and isn't, I think we're already at a dangerous crossroads.
Oh, it'd just be like, you could run a rocket on vodka. Like,
I'm sure.
Easily. You leave a bucket of like hydrogen peroxide out and let a lot of the water evaporate out of it. That's an oxidizer. Like, it's not that hard. That's not what I'm working on right now.
I
I'm
do
building
think
a hovercraft and a little wind-powered rover.
it is possible, though, that a lot of aspiring rocket scientists, much like Corbin, are probably on, like, FBI watch lists.
There's, the difference between missile technology and rocket technology is just what warhead you have on top. That's the only difference, which is great.
I don't think that was the best wording.
I know people who wanted to be go to this school and study aerospace engineering that couldn't because they're not U.S. Citizens.
Wow.
Where it really is that fine of a line, where legality gets a little weird depending on what you want to do. I know people who wanted to build a solid rocket motor, where the only difference between that and a pipe bomb is how hard you plug one of the ends. And so it's a lot. And they had a lot of issues with getting the right clearance just to own the chemicals that they would need to make the propellant, because it really is pretty dangerous. I am not doing any of that.
Thank God! I'm glad we're clarifying
these tiny little pieces of plastic that are these special little funny shapes, and then you put them together, and then things happen and the thing moves, and that's all I'm doing right now.
Okay then.
But there is one tiny asterisk on that, and that is I'm still definitely not making rocket engines. But right now I'm working on, I really like rovers. I really like making these tiny little rover things. I may or may not get hired by NASA to work on something kind of similar. I've had an interview. I will hear back at some point later this week. I might have to move to a different state than the one I'm currently in a matter of 3 weeks. And then I would get to work on NASA and basically do all these projects, but except it's not my ideas, it's NASA's ideas. Might be a thing that happens to me, but I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, massive good luck for that, man.
Yeah.
That is huge. That is great. Well, talking about exploding rockets, Twitter. Moving on to things that we've seen recently. So, as I imagine everyone who has not been under a rock knows, Twitter is now X. Because that's a great name. I'm just going to speedrun this because I feel like we talk about this so much, but I want to quickly speedrun some of the chaos that's been going on just for the last week or so. Firstly, massive sign of the X logo was put on the Twitter HQ. Absolutely blinding. Also would cause epilepsy because it was flashing crazy. Very fun. And it's been removed already because I had complaints from I believe the state and also people in the surrounding area complained.
Who could have possibly seen this coming? I
know. Pretty crazy. It's so ridiculous. There was a video of it and it was literally it was pointed, the camera was pointed towards the sign and all you could see was this bright light. It was ridiculous. It was like an alien invasion or something. What else? Twitter starting to share ad revenue with creators, but then that's now been put on hold because of whatever. I don't know what they're getting the money from for that, considering Twitter makes no money, but that's interesting. You can also now hide the blue tick of shame. Twitter Blue subscribers can now hide their check marks, so you don't have to be bullied by everyone else for having a blue check mark.
Incredible. Honestly,
quite incredible. And also, so during this whole rebrand, they've been taking accounts for the Twitter account. So it used to be Twitter, now it's @X. So @Twitter Music is now just @Music. But the guy who owned the original music account is pretty upset considering he actually used that account, and they've just took it off him, and they've suggested that he can take the handle @Music. And guess what? Okay. Someone else owns that account.
Oh, no.
So it's just going to be a long line of people just getting their accounts stolen until who knows when it ends. But there's tons of other stuff that's been going on, but these are the stuff that I feel like I can actually fit in without going on for 10 million years.
I knew they were having, when they rebrand the official Twitter account to just X, did they figure out how to get the handle to switch over, or did they just have to make a different.
Yeah, they have the handle now. If you go to Twitter, it's at X now.
Tragic.
But they stole
really
that
funny.
from someone because the guy who owned the account's now like at X, and it's like a trillion numbers after it or something.
That's crazy.
Which is a
You know,
rip.
when no one else wants to cater to your horrible ideas, you just steal from them. It's that easy.
It's mine now.
Exactly.
I'm surprised you haven't tried that, Perrin yet. Just try to steal the podcast. I feel like that's
We almost did. We were ready.
About 60 seconds of not hearing from Sean before Perrin is going to assume the mantle of TNC host.
Yeah.
And we were just going to roll as if nothing out of the ordinary was happening.
Yeah.
You don't have access to any accounts, but you'll figure it out.
6:59:50, and Corbin agreed. If he doesn't show up in a couple minutes, I'm just gonna start the episode. I'm staging a coup, and then
we had Audacity open.
5:59:51. Sean comes crashing in at the last second.
Cursors were
I'm barreling in, trying to save my own career here.
I
had to run
it. In all fairness, we would have stuck to the script, probably, somewhat.
I don't know if you would. I feel like you just
the outline. Partially.
I feel like you would have brought. I feel you would have started talking about Blimp. You would have just started showing off like all your ridiculous inventions for the entire time.
We would have talked.
You probably set something on fire while you were at it. I don't know what would have happened.
Man.
It would have been pure chaos.
I would have given even more information about the gray legality of making some of the things that I have not made, but happen to know how to make for reasons.
For reasons.
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 Namely, I just really like spaceflight.
Yeah, that's what they
So speaking of space
no
flight,
ulterior motive.
Speaking of space
Just
flight,
because your
also,
FBI officer is probably listening in right now, so be careful what you say here.
Just in case.
So this is kind of connected because it's halfway between space flight and X is SpaceX. They had a static fire of their new Starship first stage. So what that means is they took the bottom half of the rocket, that's the bigger and more powerful bit. They slapped it on the launch pad. They did not put anything on top of it. And then they turned on the engines just to see if they would work. But they also got to test systems to keep the pad from disintegrating, which is what happened very famously on the last Starship flight. So they have these giant water sprayers, which is kind of the industry standard way of dealing with ridiculous amounts of exhaust forces. And then seemingly the pad did not disintegrate. They turned on the engines. They turned off the engines.
Yay.
The pad is still there. It was more clouds instead of dust, which was kind of nice.
It's always great when nothing horribly catastrophic goes wrong.
It was nice. At least last I checked. I haven't looked at the live stream in a while, but nothing catastrophic had happened.
Yet.
Yet. There's still time. There's still time. You never know. Yeah. Wasn't there also, this is somewhat related because it is space, but I think they just found Voyager 2 after losing it because they gave it the wrong command.
Yes, they did. Apparently, NASA accidentally told Voyager 2 to look at something that pointed its antenna 2 degrees away from Earth, which does not sound like a lot, but the thing is several times further away than Pluto is, and so 2 degrees adds up a lot. And so all of a sudden, Voyager
when
couldn't
you're on
hear
a
Earth.
near infinite scale, that gets pretty bad pretty fast.
Yeah, you might miss the entire inner solar system with 2 degrees change.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But,
sorry, guys.
Oops.
I'm not really sure exactly what happened after that, but eventually they did figure out how to reestablish contact with Voyager. So Voyager 2 is still in communication as it hurtles into the unknown.
Well, good luck to that. Hopefully it doesn't get in trouble again, or they don't lose it again anyway.
Man, that'd be really sad.
That would be pretty sad. Because how long is Voyager 2? I think hasn't it been in space for quite a long time now? It's quite a few years now.
They launched in 1979.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So it's been some time. No, 77, sorry. Even longer.
Alright. You just corrected yourself there. Thank you very much for that. Because I was not going to look that up. Because I could not be bothered. But yeah, moving swiftly on, quickly, another social media thing real quick. Threads, if anyone remembers that app from like a month ago. Doesn't seem like many people do, because 8% of its daily active users are gone. Vanished into the ether. Engagement is down by 80%.
That, I think, is the funniest combination of things that could happen, of so many people so eager to leave Twitter, but they join the other app only to find that one sucks too. That's really funny.
Yeah. I used it.
A recurring pattern about just social media in general not being super epic.
Not super epic. That's a great term.
Especially when, like, handcrafted by billionaire CEOs. It's the other common theme.
Yeah. But I dared go where no one did, and I opened Threads today. I thought, for this episode, I'll take the plunge, I'll see what's going on there, and so literally brave. Nothing's happening.
You're so brave.
I know. I am the one that has to scroll on Twitter sometimes to find some of the silly stuff going on. You know how much that takes out of me? You know how this is why it's
what you're going through.
I know. I'm going to need years of therapy after this. Once all these platforms like inevitably set on fire and crumble into the ether, I'm going to need therapy. Metaphorically, not literally. I'm not saying do not set anything on fire. Arson is illegal. Do not do it. I do not condone it. Nor the podcast. Once it all does come crumbling down metaphorically, I'm going to need years of therapy after this, because scrolling Twitter has probably reduced my brain cell count by a significant amount. So that's fun. But yeah. I scrolled a little bit on Threads today, and it's what you'd imagine. It's boring.
It does,
basically, it's just
from like a graphic design perspective, it's the most boring social media yet.
Yeah.
Like not anymore. Now, it was for about 3 weeks. and
then Elon Musk said, "Hold my beer."
Exactly. God.
So here it is. It's just articles now. Like, there is like the Verge and stuff, but like most of it just
looks like Instagram.
It looks like Instagram if it was like
undistinguishable at this distance.
It's like if I open, because it looks like a blob. Like you can barely see anything. But like, that's Twitter, right? So it looks like that.
I thought that was Instagram.
And now that's Threads. That's Threads. They look identical to one another, and the content is just as boring. It's the only thing they've done to improve the app is they've added an option now. You can just see what you're following now. There's an actual following timeline now, so you only see.
Have that already?
Not on launch. They did not have that. The only thing you had was an algorithmic timeline, and that algorithm, oh my god, that algorithm was bad, because it was like pseudo inspirational posts you see on like normal Instagram. Like I don't know even like what you even. It's like those ones like. I can't even give an example of
intrapreneur on this podcast before, right? Where it's the it's a fake, it's a parody of all those accounts.
It's like what it's like. It's like Live Laugh Love if it was an app.
Yeah, man. But it's like Live Laugh Love, but for men, like that kinds of posts, like all the Sigma millionaire grind set guides, like one of those. It's a parody of all of them. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like that one that you made a while ago. Yes, the grind set one. That was so funny.
Yes, exactly.
Has anyone capitalized on the idea for either website? I'm thinking 2 different accounts could work. Either have one that's just crickets, or one that's just a tumbleweed. And every so often you post, and you're the only thing keeping either website afloat.
And the post is just like
I feel like the only thing, like Twitter. Yeah. There is a Twitter account, and it just ended. It actually just started doing a new thing. So what it was, for 2 years, it was posting every single frame from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, I heard about this one.
So it's just completed. It just finished, and now it's doing every single frame from El Camino.
Man, that's
in order.
That's gonna take. So it's not as long.
Yeah,
and then
not as long. It's only 7,000 frames. Yeah. It's doing. Whereas Breaking Bad, every single. I think it took it 2 years to do that. Yeah. But then it's getting wilder, because after El Camino, it's gonna post every single frame from Better Call Saul. Yeah. And that is even longer than Breaking
Yeah,
Bad.
that's a
so
solid-
that's going to be like 3 years, and by that point, Twitter might not even be a thing by then. At this point, the way it's going.
Man, if only we could buy Twitter and keep it running only for that account. No one else gets to use Twitter.
That's yeah.
Oh, here's the obligatory mentioning
Could
of my
you-
server, because Micah posted a meme saying if, like, I think it wasn't Micah, or someone posted in
Might
the
have been
server
Gyro.
if Taz Hangouts ran social media companies, and it was like the Utopia meme.
the Utopia. Yeah.
If it wasn't for like the ridiculous, I forgot what the term was, API pricing, you can make a bot and waste of money that all it does is it just reads the Breaking Bad frames and posts them.
Well, Corbin, there is a bot on wasteof.money that reads out the
is it-
B-movie transcript line by line.
It's a B-movie.
Yeah, B-movie bot.
Incredible.
Recently.
Oh, B-movie
reminded
bot,
of its
yes.
existence a few days ago, and now I'm following it because I wasn't already. But
Right.
most
If it's
recent
not
post,
the most
it's in
followed,
random. It's not in order. It's got a disappointing 18 followers. Me being one of them.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It's not in
I'm
order.
gonna follow it
either.
right now. I haven't
It's not
posted
in
it.
order.
Posting it.
So the most
You need to start. We need Corbin back on Waste Stuff, because
Yeah,
his
so
account was
true.
great, but
It
I
was-
just say.
you gotta get back on there, man. You
all
gotta get
three
back
of
in
my
the game.
posts.
Yeah, so here it is. I bring it up on my screen. It's a great account. I'm not following it on this account. I actually should, to be
You need
honest.
to.
There
Come
we
on.
go. I've corrected the record. We now have 19 followers on the
go.
B movie account.
With your help, we can get to 20.
I'm trying to find it. It's just called B-movie.
B-movie
It's
bot.
B movie bot. But it's managed by. I'll quickly give a shout out to Reed, who runs this bot.
Yes.
Massive W. But yeah, like you say, is it random?
It's
yeah,
random.
It is random.
That's not in order. As someone who many a time has written out
As a B movie expert, I can confirm that this is
as
not in
someone who's
order.
seen the B movie at least 3 times, and also several unrelated times, has written out the first like 5 minutes of the B movie transcript. As a joke. I know. I am
Wait, like,
very familiar.
wait,
with
do
the
you
first,
actually know it off by
15 minutes
heart?
of that.
Do not get him
I
started.
can't do it.
We are not,
I
that
can't
would
do
be
it by
Oh,
memory.
no.
One day, though. One day I can do it by
Podcast
memory.
poison.
Alexa, please, can you
man.
read me the first 5 minutes of the B movie script?
You would
Ugh.
get taken down so quickly. Some lawyer
one
would
thing, okay,
find us
somewhat
immediately.
related.
It
It'll
won't
be like the
be-
scene in B movie where there is
Yeah.
the lawsuit.
It won't even be any of like the propulsion stuff that's a little sketchy. It'd be copyright infringement.
Yeah,
that
we
gets
get
us taken down.
DMCA'd real fast.
Yeah, TNC does not endorse copyright infringement.
Man.
If you're gonna sue anyone, sue Perrin, because he's the one that
Exactly.
recited the B movie script. So
You're
Yeah.
the one that like remade all of Wikipedia already.
You know,
yeah,
I'm just trying to get by, man. It's
Trying
tough.
to make your place in the
I just
world.
need. I'm getting paid in exposure. Give me a break.
hey, well, I guess that's.
Ugh.
I guess I shouldn't say that we are paying you in exposure for this,
I
right?
mean, hey, I'm here for fun.
I mean, to be fair, you did try to like stage a coup
Well,
before I turned up,
if
so
you
I
didn't
think that's
show
pretty
up,
fair not
we
to pay
really
you.
needed to have an episode anyway. So like, I feel like
I
I was
get-
doing my civic duty as a recurring TNC guest host to step into an empty hole in the leadership and do what needed to be done and record an episode when no one else
and
was
also
there.
officially steal Ethan's
Officially stealing the job.
At this point, you're gonna be stealing everyone's job. It's just gonna be you running the podcast. It's just gonna be you talking to yourself at this point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Parent just reading B-movie bot posts for like 3 hours at a time.
I gotta, yeah.
He just reads
I
the
should
B
record
movie
an
script in full.
audiobook, man.
He just looks at whatever the Breaking Bad bot and just describes what
Describes
the
it.
frames are.
But I
Remember that
gotta go
episode
like
where
pixel
I
by
asked you,
pixel.
like,
And I'm like, alright, this one's mostly blue.
Just
The other
read
one-
out the RGB values of each individual pixel.
Read out the hex values.
Man.
Oh my god. No, it was that episode. I can't remember what episode it was, but it was the one. It was like one of them. I said to you, "Can you?" Like, I kept asking you to describe things, and I feel like you could just turn that into an entire episode now. I think we've just created a monster here, where you're just gonna describe just things for the entire episode. You're too
If only.
dangerous.
I gotta start my own podcast.
What are you gonna name it? You need a name.
The
Parent
old
describes
creators.
things for 100 minutes. No, I can't commit to 100 full minutes. Man, I forgot an hour isn't 100
It doesn't have to be
minutes.
one take. Has anyone seen the video of Michael Stevens reading prime numbers for 3 hours?
Yeah.
Without
Oh,
a break?
yeah. Was there not
It's a
also one where he
classic.
watched a pot boil for
Yeah,
hours
an
as
hour.
well?
It was a full hour.
Yeah.
There's
An hour.
also the one where Mr. Beast counts to 1,000,000 on stream. It took him like 8 hours or something. I don't know if it was 1,000,000. I think it was just like a couple hundred.
I think he just did
100,000 or
it.
something. But it
I
was, it was
think it
something
was
like
literally
that.
just like, I felt like
He
it.
watched, I think it was Dance Till You're Dead, that one viral video with the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
watched that for 24 straight hours. Just because he could. Man.
Just cause.
I mean,
Man,
hey, that's
that-
a pretty,
that's like-
that's a pretty good way to get views, is to make yourself suffer.
They know what people
Yeah.
want, and it is just, something even more monotonous.
Yeah. We need to think of something that's more monotonous than that. Maybe like,
Watching paint dry?
you know what? No, I was actually thinking if I was to do one, like I had to torture myself, like for YouTube views, I'd just listen to Ed Sheeran's discography, beginning
That's
to
pretty
end.
Good. I mean, you could
That's
do
what
what
I've-
I've been doing already and just watch hours of lectures on ANSYS Fluent
Oh, boy.
Fun.
while taking notes.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
I just feel pain just hearing that.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
I'd rather read the Twilight
no.
books than that.
Oh,
Hey, I'm
god.
gonna end up with a cool hovercraft, and it'll make it all worth it.
Oh yeah, well I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the
end up with
hovercraft.
exposure. So who's the real winner?
He has the clout. I'm sorry, he wins. Clout's
You're
everything.
right. You are so right.
I think we should move on. There's something that you added, Corbin. A YouTube link.
Oh, that was the SpaceX.
Was that-
Was that?
Oh yeah. Never mind. Well, since we already discussed that, unless there's anything else you want to add to that, I will probably move on to the music segment.
Wow.
Wow. I shall start first. I think it's because I added this because I knew you were coming on, Perrin, and
Yes.
we both listened to this, so I thought it'd be a good one. And that's Mercurial World by Magdalena Bay.
I'm not
Which
sure
is just-
how we've gotten 19 and a half episodes in, and no one's brought that one up yet.
Yeah.
I don't
Since
know.
I-
I generally don't know.
I might
I
command F in the
introduced
Google
it
Doc to
to
see if
Corbin.
someone has said it before.
I introduced.
I looked it up, and there's no one's brought it up.
I think I might have planned on it
Incredible.
because, like, I think it was close to a month ago. I've been working so often, I don't know how long weeks are anymore. It's time is an illusion. I've
Time
lost
is a
track.
construct.
But about a month ago, I listened to Magdalena Bay's other albums, and they're still really good because I hadn't done it before, and so I got them out of the way, and they're really good. Fun fact: who would have
Yeah.
known?
Yeah, their new EP, Mini Mix Free, was really good.
Yes.
It was very good. But this is their debut album, and I mean, it's just straight up bangers, beginning to end. I'd say it's just absolute bangers, wall to wall bangers.
So good. It's such a good concept of an album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the concept of the album is like it can be looped completely. So like the first track's called The End and the last track's called The Beginning. And if you loop the album, it loops itself perfectly.
It's so well done. And there's also
Yeah.
the song Halfway, which goes pretty hard for just like a little interlude.
Oh yeah.
That's in the middle of the
Yep.
album. Wow. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, because it's pretty clever. Pretty clever. But yeah, it's such a banger
It's just
album.
a really
man.
good album. I noticed that there's with Mercurial World, their style got like way more interesting. Like
Yeah,
I
it
really
was way more ambitious.
I really
I
like
think.
the earlier stuff, but it's kind of it gets a tad repetitive in terms of it's kind of the same style of like upbeat electro pop kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like kind of the same drum beat every single time or whatever. But like it's still
Yeah.
really nice. But yeah.
Yeah. I'd agree because I felt like Mercurial World was just more ambitious, and also I think even Mini Mix Free was also just a bit more diverse. It had a bit more just kind of to it, if you get what I mean. But yeah, I'd say listen to that album, but just listen to just Magdalena Bay in general because they're just great. Some great synth pop in there.
It's a really good album.
But yeah, Perrin, what have you been
Yes.
listening to?
So, I haven't been necessarily listening to them, especially recently, but I wanted to talk about this on a previous episode, but I think I had to cancel at the last second. But I want to talk about Brian David Gilbert's music, because his like little comedy sketches are very often songs, and they're actually pretty good. I know that he isn't the main one producing the music itself, because this guy Jonah Scott, who Brian David Gilbert was in a band with and is good friends with, does most of like the instrumentation and stuff for his stuff. But he does write all the lyrics and stuff himself, like co-writes it with his now fiance, which is cool. But one of his most recent videos on YouTube is called "Don't Tell Your Wife About This Game," and it's a little song about all those little like clickbaity apps you see ads for, like in the App Store.
Use your imagination.
Exactly.
Use the imagination.
Yeah, usually not rated PG, but he's both poking fun at them, but also like using it as a device to talk about how the games are like targeted towards this guy whose marriage is falling apart, and like it's surprisingly well done and kind of really sad, but it's like taking goofy concepts and using like surprisingly poignant messages, and also it just slaps really hard. Like it's really, really well done musically also, but it's the kind of song where you think it's just a joke, and it is just a joke, but also it makes me feel regret about my own marriage that I don't have, because I am not married. But if I were, I would feel really bad about it.
Yeah.
So it's just really well done. All of his stuff is kind of like that in terms of just taking goofy concepts and adding fun little musical jingles and doing them quite well and mixing in some surprisingly good metaphors. Like he's got this one song that's called "There Is a Rock in My House," and he used this rock could be like it could be a metaphor for literally whatever you want it to be. I think in his case it was taught like his like work-life balance being all out of whack, but like it was so vague that like a lot of people with all kinds of issues were like like it resonated with them in like really unexpected ways. Like this person's like, oh, this reminds me of my OCD, or this reminds me of my just toxic relationship or whatever. Just like his music is fun, and it makes people think about stuff, and I really like it a lot.
Cool. Very nice. Corbin, what about you?
So I've been listening to this like one album basically over and over again. It's very topical because it's Voyager 1
Hey!
by Adam Young. So in theory it's about Voyager 1, but also it's just like songs of different like locations in space, or like different things involving the mission. Even though it actually has planets that only Voyager 2 saw, it's still incredibly well done album. He takes a lot of music from like his even pre-Owl City days and then re-releases it in some of the songs. Has absolutely wild things in it, like a song with 7/8 time, I think. Just funky stuff like that. It's an incredible album, 10 out of 10. I've been listening to it a lot while reading space things. This really kind of sets the vibes. Can't recommend that album enough.
All
Voyager
of
1 by
all
Adam
of Adam
Young.
Young's stuff, all of his like instrumental scores are just so good, so well done.
Yeah. I think he's like one of the most mentioned artists on this podcast because you guys talk about him quite a
It is
bit.
just me and Corbin, but also, yeah, we're on here enough that happens. But he's also just got so much stuff.
Yeah.
He's got so much
Yeah,
cool
he
stuff
does.
outside of like his
Like
main
you've been
Owl
telling
City
me about
label.
all of his like side projects, and it's
Exactly,
literally
yeah.
you cannot count all of them.
There's
That many.
so
Right.
many.
I mean, I was going to do
They're all really
one
well done.
other album from one of his side projects until you mentioned Voyager. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, some
What were
of
you
the
gonna
songs
do?
on Voyager 1 come from older side projects that have been put back in. And it was one of 11 albums of scores he released in 1 year.
Yeah.
Which is
I thought
pretty
it was
crazy.
12. I thought it was one for every month.
He started 1 month late.
Ah.
But yeah,
No,
still very,
well.
very good. 10 out of 10.
Fair enough.
11 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Or 11
10
out of 12.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think that's really about us then, I think. Unless there's anything else you guys want to quickly throw in before we start kind of heading out.
I think
All
I'm
right.
good.
All right. Good. My name is Sean.
I'm Perrin.
I'm Corbin.
And thank you for listening. Where can we find you guys?
Oh, I am on kinda everywhere. I'm on Scratch at Perrin with an L because Perrin was taken. I am on Dribble at, I forget if it's Perrin Designs or not. I've lost track of my own Dribble username. I gotta post there more often. I'm on Behance at Perrin Designs. I'm on Instagram at Perrin.designs. Just Google me, probably. You can find where I am. I'm kinda everywhere, I think. In my mind, it's everywhere. I'm sure there's places I'm not. Who knows?
You'll find them eventually
Yeah,
if
you'll be
if
fine.
you try hard enough. With the power of imagination and
Exactly.
courage, you will find them. Where can we find you, Corbin? If at all.
Well, in a few weeks, I'll either be studying something at my school or I'll be working in NASA. So one of those two places. I don't really care about.
Yeah, take a gander. Just get a dartboard, throw at it, and see what it lands
Pick a
on. There you go.
random school that has aerospace engineering and a random NASA center. Probably at one of the two.
Yeah, and you can find me at seanjw.com. Alright, and I think that is us. We don't have any plans for episode 20, the official episode 20, but we're hoping to make it a bit more
Plans that you're aware
ambitious.
of.
No plans that I'm aware of. I don't know, maybe you guys will like actually plan that coup now and I'll be gone by episode 20, so there might be new management by then.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Watch out for episode 19.6.
Man.
19.6.5 and
Coming
then
soon
after
to
that just keep on
theaters.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I believe that is us for now. Thank you for listening, and we shall see you in the next episode.